You are listening to the Built to Grow podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in studio here in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, joined, as always, by Randy Angston with no nickname. What's up, man?
How are we doing, brother?
Good weekend?
Yeah, a nice relaxing Labor Day.
Little family time?
Yeah, got the family in, did the brother and sister and the nephew came over. Gatlin, my nephew's name's Gatlin, by the way, guys. Gatlin is at the point where like he's now associating words with, meaning, and so the horse is a big deal with him. Horse.
Oh,
he whispers it only.
Kids are funny. You know what? In 2 weeks from now, it's gonna be something new.
Calls him now, and then within the same day, he calls him Jester. Like,
the name.
Oh, cool. So now he's calling the horse by name. Like, the kid's bright. So.
Yeah,
but it's a lot of fun, and family time like that comes. You take advantage of it.
Not often enough, I would tell you. For me, everything's breaking at my house. So garage door springs broke. The landscaping, I had to redo the whole landscaping. All the irrigation lines are leaking, floods all over the place.
I did some of that. I repaired one of those this weekend.
The television broke, the old one. That thing broke.
I'm doing a projector this week.
Projector for your giant wall.
Yes.
Sweet.
That's figured out.
Nice. You can do the one that's like vertical? No.
Only I just don't want to drop $2,500 on one.
Oh,
that's that's a little different than a decent $800 projector.
You're gonna put it on the wall, like
it'll mount up, ceiling mount.
Sweet.
Hidden, clean.
Those things are awesome. All right, well, we've got a couple announcements to make. The Fitness Growth Summit is live, and you can go in and claim your free ticket at fitnessgrowthsummit.com. Again, you're not going to want to miss that. We were just going through the list of the speakers on each day, and boy, there's some great content in there. So you're not going to want to miss that. It's a free opt-in. You get a chance to upgrade. It gives you a little all-access pass. You can get bonus content from all the speakers, kind of like the how to do things, and as well as some opt-ins and stuff in there. So don't miss that. Also, guys, did you know we're on YouTube?
Yeah.
We have a YouTube channel. Not something we're great at. We're not great at everything. I know it's hard to believe, but I would say the two things I'm not really good at are Instagram follower growth. I think I maybe have 1,000 people, and YouTube subscriber growth. So if you know how to do that, please reach out.
There you go.
I don't want to learn it, and I would love to have that done for me and you. So, go check out YouTube, and you can see these episodes right there. Same content, just, we got 3 different cameras. You can kind of check out the studio and stuff. So go check that out.
On to today's episode.
Episode. So today's episode, I really want to hit home on how hard is it for people to do business with you. And the reason I bring this up is there's so many variables in the process of from somebody hearing about you for the first time, maybe seeing an ad or going to your website, to them giving you money, to them being able to continue to work with you over the long term. There's so many things. And while, some things you might do great, some things you might need a little work, and there's always new great things coming out all the time, but I have a list here of things that I should, at least bring your attention to, because you're probably not aware. And I would probably venture to guess not many gym owners are really digging this deep into the process of how people become members with you. And it goes well in front of this, where I'm going to start on number 1. It goes 12 steps in front of this, as well as 12 steps after it. But these are the ones kind of like that make the most sense.
And this is something, as you were saying, that this is something that maybe you haven't done or you're not doing often, but this is something that you should do consistently. I would say, a good 3 to 6 months, like if you make some changes in the business, new personality or personnel, things like that, this is something to rerun through that, run through this again to see.
And I jotted some notes down, and we're going to talk about each one a little bit and, kind of dig into these each a little bit more. But let's just start right here at the top. When somebody sees an ad of yours, let's just say it's on Facebook because that's what most everybody's using. How hard is it for somebody to give you their information? Okay, and the reason I say this is there's a lot of ways to run ads, and there's a lot of styles of ads, and there's pros and cons to every single one. But what I mean, like, how hard is it? Do they have to click a bunch of buttons, go to a landing page, click through the landing page several times, and then there's an opt-in page somewhere like on page 3?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it right there front and center when they land on your landing page? Can they give you their information right there on the spot?
Quote unquote above the fold, right?
Above the
Some things
fold. Are you using a Facebook lead ad? And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's basically a form that lives natively in Facebook, and you don't ever leave their platform. It's basically a Facebook lead ad is what it's called. And you can add criteria to that. You can make it really streamlined. You don't even have to ask for the name. Maybe you just want the email and phone number or whatever. But there's pros and cons to this. And maybe if there's ever a time that you may want to make it a little bit harder for somebody to get through to you, it might be this step. Because there's a lot of garbage leads that live out there that just opt into stuff that have no intention. And maybe this would be the time you might want to add a few extra steps to kind of pre-qualify that lead before they come into your CRM and become a lead of yours. Because really, you don't want to waste your time with folks that aren't really interested. So maybe you do put up a couple more hurdles in the process to kind of weed out and qualify those leads. And by hurdles, I might mean some type of application. They have to answer several questions or a few questions.
Sometimes it's even one. I mean, like if you think about it, even like a CAPTCHA is a way that
qualifies.
It's a pre-qualification, making sure it's not a bot just dropping information in and sending garbage through. So that's the web's way of, or your form builder's way of saying, okay, cool, let's put some redundancy or some security in here.
Sure. And it's security, but it's also a little bit of a qualification. If somebody's going to go 2, 3, 4, 5 extra steps to opt in, by default, they're more qualified.
The intent of the prospect is a lot better than, again, somebody just shopping 1,000 opt-in forms and throwing info in. And
so now that you kind of understand what I mean by how hard is it for somebody to do business with you, just in number one, there's 500 different things to look at there. So we're just getting started. Okay, so let's move on to your website. This is your homepage of your website, or actually your website in general. We're not talking Facebook page or a funnel. I'm talking your website, okay, the one that comes up on Google. You know what I mean? So like on your website, do you have a phone number? Is it clickable? Can they text you on that phone number, or do you not have a phone number? Or if you do have a phone number, I just ran into this the other day with the garage repair guy. His phone number was not clickable. Like I'm on my cell phone. I just want to click it and call, but it wasn't. So I had to copy it, go to my phone, and paste it.
Yes.
And for some people, they wouldn't even know how to do that. They're going to move on to the next guy.
And being in the digital marketing space, I almost move on when things like that happen.
Right.
Like I want competence behind the person that I'm working with, and simple things like that. Guys, I can't tell you. Where I'm on hundreds of gym websites a week. Make sure your address is on there. Make sure. Beyond contact me, put in the footer of every damn page. Like there are certain criteria that everybody needs to know if they want to work with you. If you're a brick and mortar business, I shouldn't have to go searching for where you're located. That should be front and center. Like that should be an easy piece of information. You should lead with stuff like that, right?
Sure.
I want to make sure that I could work with you. But that is a big problem. Like address.
Hence the podcast
Address, guys. It's as simple as sometimes we just overlook things. We're too close to the problem.
Okay, so within your website, do you have opt-in forms? Are they easy to fill out? Are they mobile responsive? So if somebody's on their mobile phone and they go to kind of hit that form and then the button's hidden, they can't figure out how to submit it, you're losing opportunities there. So if somebody's having a tough time, maybe they really want to work with you.
Yeah. Maybe
they're in a hurry and they really just want to get that button clicked and then they just can't get it on their phone. And you guys have seen this before. I know your sites probably have an issue like this. They might. And sometimes there's updates to forms and stuff that you don't even know it's not working. So you have to kind of go check this stuff every once in a while. But that person that really wanted to work with you couldn't get that button clicked, and guess what? 3 months goes by in his life or her life, and they finally get around to maybe calling you because something came up.
Or they call your competitor because they didn't struggle, and you've lost that business for good, or for the meantime.
So lots of things to think about, guys. And that's why I wanted to talk about this today, because it's just things that you need to know. Things you need to, the more you know. Okay, next up, how easy is it for people to meet with you? Meaning, can they book an appointment after they opt in? Do you redirect them to a online booking link that they can just pick a time and date? What's your availability like on that? Let's just say you've got the link there and they click on it and there's nothing for 2 weeks. Or maybe you only have 1 hour in a day. Or, whatever it is. Or maybe it's just mornings and they only can come in and meet with you in afternoons. If you're making it difficult for people to give you money, then that's a problem. It's hard enough.
Or maybe they got to call you and your voicemail's full.
Yeah.
It's 9 times out of 10 I call. I'm telling you. So, guys, I don't say this insensitively. I'm saying this because 9 out of the 10 of you qualify. Yep. Go delete your voicemails.
Go delete your voicemails. But going back to the availability, should you allow somebody to book 3 weeks in advance? I would say probably not. You might want to squeeze it to maybe a rolling 7 days or a rolling 6 days or even a rolling 4 days, meaning that, if they book 2 or 3 weeks out, they're not going to remember. They're not going to remember. So, yes, you're giving them a lot of availability, but that works in reverse, too. They're going to forget that they booked that far in advance.
Or just lose excitement.
Or lose excitement.
That's a big part of, I think the customer experience and, the buying cycle. People overlook when your opportunity is. You know what I mean?
It's
if somebody,
now.
we talked about it. We talked about lead generation and the CLA. If somebody's opting into your website in this industry, guys, according to Eric Russell, it's something over 90%. The person that reaches out to the prospect the first when they opt in gets the business 9 out of 10 times. So
yeah,
that's huge. If you're waiting 3 weeks or if you're don't have a system in place to reach out, that's crucial. So
exactly, and it happened with my dad. He needs something done at his house, and he went to Angie's List. Mm-hmm. And when you put your stuff on Angie's List or like Thumbtack for the fitness professionals, that lead gets pushed out to a bunch of service providers, and the first one that calls him that can speak to him, he's most likely going to get the business. And so for my dad, it was the first person.
Yeah, absolutely.
They had a great conversation. The guy could solve his needs, his problems, and now he's.
What more does he need?
He's giving him money to do the job, and that's really what we're talking about here. Is, are you giving yourself the best opportunity to win the business? And if you're not, go fix it. I mean, it's not that hard. Mm-mm. You can go through this list, listen to this podcast a few times, and just take notes, right? And go and fix this stuff. All right, going into the next one. When somebody does come in and they do want to do business with you, do you make it difficult for them to do business with you by making them do a trial first, or making them do an on-ramp or a beginner's course or a class or a bundle of classes that's a higher price because you are a CrossFit and you just need to teach them these things? I would argue that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Think about from the consumer. They're struggling to come in anyway, and now you're making it even more difficult for them to get started with you. Is that really a good thing? I mean, I'd argue no. I'd try to get them into your regular system as quick as possible. There's going to be people that disagree with that because, we're CrossFit and we need to teach. If I put these people into the classes, I'm going to talk about that in a second. They're not going to be able to keep up with the rest of it's just going to drag the class down. Then we need to have this in place because then it's going to train them the proper steps. I'm going to have a rebuttal for that here in a second. Actually, the very next one. So think about how people become a member with you and decide, is it the best way to do it? Or is it, putting up another hurdle?
Yeah.
When they're right there. They're in your gym. They've decided to join, and now you're making it even harder.
Yeah, I mean, right to that, right? Like if your membership is, 6 or annuals or whatever, like you have your membership baseline, it should be anything that could get somebody into that is what that's the goal.
Right.
Like don't throw additional things in there just to make it.
I would say you don't want to force a trial on somebody. If they're ready to join, let them join.
Yes.
Okay. So that drives me to the next one. What are your memberships? What are they? Do you offer one thing and that's all you offer, or do you have a good, better, best? They call them layers in the business, layers of memberships. Do you have a team training membership, maybe a frequency-based semi-private training membership? Maybe you've got a private training membership. If you only have one thing and somebody can't afford that, well, guess what? They're not doing business with you.
Mm-hmm.
Or if somebody wants to give you more money and you don't allow them to give you more money because you don't have that thing, well, you're losing that on that end too. So we're really big believers in having levels of membership, good, better, best at a minimum, but maybe having a few more layers. Mm-hmm. And really progressing somebody and bringing and sending them up into the next kind of membership level is something we teach and we're very, very adamant about, because you don't want to lose the lower level client. I'm not saying lower level, I'm saying lower paying client because they can't afford it, because eventually things will change. And if they're within your ecosystem, guess where they're not? They're not in your competitors' ecosystems. They're in your gym. You have the opportunity to send them into something else.
Absolutely. And then again, back to the Ascension model, provide a greater result as you're doing so.
Exactly.
Keep them with you.
Yep. All right. What else? Oh, so going back to that rebuttal for why maybe not having an on-ramp or a beginner's program. Well, why not just having levels of membership?
Yeah.
And start them at the lower one and then move them up into more advanced. So that was my rebuttal for that. All right. Do you offer month to month or just annuals or even longer, or do you offer both? If you're a gym, I would, there's two sides to this. This comes up all the time with our coaching clients. Well, we only do month-to-month memberships, and we told people if they don't want to be here, then we want to let them out. We want to be like an easygoing place. Well, there's a con to that as well. Yes, it's easier to sell. There's no risk, all that stuff. But guess what happens when people get lazy? They always are looking for a way to quit.
An easy way out, yeah.
And it's not because you're not doing your job as the business. It's because they have their own personal issues and they got lazy, and you're making it easy for them to quit. You're not really doing your job by getting them the result that they came in for. You're just letting them go. And so are you really serving them by not allowing them to quit? I would argue no. Having an annual membership in place and locking somebody in for that committed time frame is going to keep them accountable just as much as it's going to help you and your business be able to project your revenue in the future.
That's one area where I would say it's going to differentiate between a trainer and a coach.
There you go.
You want to be a trainer and you want to just execute training for 45 minutes or an hour, once a day, and not hold anybody to their results other than showing up. Cool. That makes you a great trainer. You want to be a phenomenal coach and have a lifelong client. The accountability factor, the personal aspect, like holding your clients to the results that they said they want. Mm-hmm. That's what makes a great coach. A great coach doesn't fold with their client when they say, "Oh, I had a bad week, I'm not coming in tomorrow." Well, no, let's have that conversation. Why are you giving up on the one thing that you know is getting you the results you want in the direction you want to go? Let's not give up on those things. Control the controllables. That's the stuff that drives me nuts.
So then the other way is, do you only have an annual? If you only have an annual, you're making it really difficult for the people that don't want to do the annual.
Sure.
Or maybe they're only in town. They're only in town for 3 months, and then they're moving. Like, you can't do business with them either because you only allow annual. So we really recommend having both. And there's ways to make this thing really sweet and never have an issue. And we'll get into that. If you ever want to get into coaching with us, I have the perfect formula on how to have both and be it a win-win across the board. Even 3 months into an annual contract, and when that person wants to quit and they're going to give you a bad Yelp review if you don't let them out of their agreement, I have a way to combat that too. But you got to get into our coaching to get that answer. Sorry. All right, payment frequency. Okay. Do you only offer monthly payments, or do you want to make it a little bit easier on your clients that get paid every 2 weeks and do bi-monthly? Or maybe you want to do weekly payments. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's a little bit easier for your clients to swallow that weekly payment. If you are rigid on hard month, you only bill monthly, or you only bill on the 1st and 15th, or you only bill on the 1st,
or only ACH, EFT versus a debit card versus Bitcoin
types
versus
of payment. Yeah.
Because that's another one. Like, I've been with gyms in the past that they've changed their billing situation, and everybody had to move to a different, type of billing. Yep. Well, it turned me off as a client,
and
right?
You probably quit, right?
I'm trying to remember exactly then. I'm pretty sure I did. I'm pretty sure I moved along just because, it was a change that they felt was necessary for the business, but there was no explanation to the client on what was in it for us. I mean, it was clearly just, we're going to collect more money every month going this route. Everybody has to do it.
They're going to keep more money for the billing processing.
Exactly. Yep.
So when somebody, like when a gym or a business says, hey, we only want to go ACH, there's no credit card fees involved in that. But when we do it, we give them incentive to do it.
And that was my thing. Yeah. Like, if you're going to make a change or you're going to recommend clients take a certain path over other ones, then let's highlight why, let's make it. What's the benefit for the client? You know what I mean? I understood the business was going to make more money, but to me, it was an insensitive way of passing that along at me having to do the work.
Do more work.
Yeah.
Well, that goes into the next thing, like what forms of payment do you offer? If somebody, like for us, we'll take whatever. If you want to give us gold coins,
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, right? Let's get that scale out and figure out how many ounces of gold this is.
Should see Tim's teeth from biting all the gold.
Don't. Is this real? Come here.
Oh, that's great.
Get a magnet out. I would tell you guys, allow people to pay you however they want to pay you.
Yeah.
Is it Discover Card? Is it Bitcoin? Is it, is it barter? I mean, let's just say you do a barter. Like, we're really big on barter here. We're in a barter organization that, when I speak to gym owners about barter, it's very foreign. I've been in a barter organization here in Arizona for 10 years.
Yeah.
And, what that is basically it allows you to be in the organization where people barter services, food, services, products for.
I wouldn't be sitting in a seat if we did barter.
What do you mean?
My membership at your gym was always on trade.
Right.
We always did exchange digital, design work and things like that.
Right. Back in the day when you were trying to, hustle through and you had some design skills. I needed it. We traded a membership for his design skills. But in the barter organization, it allows, there's thousands of businesses that we can then turn around and use our barter dollars for HVAC servicing. So I'm not using cash, using barter. And people are like, well, why would you do barter when you can just do cash? The caveat to this is you would never get those barter clients paying cash.
Yep.
They're only looking to do barter because they're in that organization. You wouldn't have gotten them as a client anyway. So might as well get them as a client, get the barter cash, and then you can determine how you want to spend that cash. I mean, because we're going to do HVAC maintenance anyways.
And I'm thinking, too, it's probably a way of getting higher priced memberships because it's not the sting of cash leaving
Their
a
business.
pocket,
Yeah.
or the business. Exactly. They understand the value of their service, and they're okay bringing that back into anybody in that environment, on trade. But at the same time, it's almost like being able to spend a little bit more without spending more, right? They know their services can make
Vegas,
up for it.
Like in Vegas, when they use chips, it's like, oh, this isn't cash, it's chips.
It doesn't feel real. It doesn't have that same sting.
But like there's restaurants in there, there's janitorial places. We've gotten banners made. We've gotten what else? Cleaning. Yeah, we've definitely gotten cleaning services from it. Window tinting. Hell, you can go on vacation on trade if you really wanted to. There's there's a vacation. But the long story short is, allow your customers to pay you however it's easiest for them, okay? So types of payment as well as payment frequency as well as term conditions on the agreements. All three things are different, as well as membership levels. The price, the frequency of payment, the term, and how they pay you. That needs to be as broad as possible because, again, you want to make it really easy for somebody to do business with you. Okay. Once they become a member, how do they schedule their ongoing reoccurring sessions? Do you allow reoccurring? Do you let somebody book out for 2 months in advance at 9 o'clock on Monday, Wednesday, Friday? If you don't, well, guess what? They're going to have to go in and manually book that appointment every single time. Do they have an app? Do you have an app that allows people to book appointments? If you don't, how are they booking appointments? They have to call in and get on they have to write it in the calendar book. Think about the day and age we're in, and think about people's time. People they're strapped for time. They don't want to go through all these extra hurdles to just do business with you. And that's really the point of this whole podcast. Make it easy for people to do business with you on all of these things, plus about 500 other things.
Something to think about too, after now that it's all encompassing, as you guys find yourself going out and utilizing other services and other, retail environments, things like that. Think about Amazon, right? Like, why do we all buy freaking everything off of Amazon instead of going to the store? Because of the ease of buying it. It's got nothing. It's not cheaper than going to Walmart. 9 times it's probably pretty damn similar. But I don't have to leave my house. I know within 24 hours it's gonna be at my doorstep. The leaving, literally one button, slide it, done. It's over. It's already coming to my. It's ease of use, and that's why they're crushing it. If every time you guys went and shopped other places, if you took one little thing about how all of these other places do business better than they could essentially, or something you like about the way that others do business, take them back to your business. I mean, it could be the conversation, it could be the scripts, it could be The ease of use when it goes to their website. Like, there's something there, but don't be closed-minded and think that, it has to come from your business, or it has to come from a fitness industry or a fitness business coach or things like that. Customer service is customer service, and the ease of buying, that carries over.
The ease of doing business. And that
Exactly.
that goes into using the business too, using the services.
Absolutely.
Like the app that I'm talking about. That's a great point. I would challenge you to just go out eyes wide open and see, what businesses are doing very well here. Very well. Amazon's probably the best.
God.
And they are probably why the richest man in the world runs that.
And the richest woman in the world now.
Isn't that funny? But that would be a great thing to do, is just kind of next time you're out doing business, or online or offline, there's a lot of ways and things that are being very creative out there.
And that's the thing, like, it comes back to growth, like when I go out to lunch or dinner, I am always I'm like the server. I'm their biggest fan. I want somebody to like blow my socks off on the most standard of meals, because I know that I don't go out to eat often, but when I do, it's a experience, and I'm going to take care of their tip, and I usually tip really well, but it's because I want to see somebody perform at their best. And when somebody does something that knocks my socks off, I make sure and I take care of them in that regard. Mm-hmm. But I've learned so many different things just simply by kind of opening your eyes and tracking the progress, tracking the process. Like, how is somebody else doing this?
Hey, you know what? Great example. The garage door. Going back to that today, the guy came out. The springs were broken. That's
sure.
It happened one other time, and he sold me on these springs. And because they had already broken, this will be the second time, different company. He goes, these springs are a little bit more, but guess what? Lifetime warranty.
Yeah, we're done.
So if these ever break, you call us, we'll replace them, no cost. Oh, and by the way, we can do the same thing for these rollers. You have these metal bearing rollers. We have these nylon rollers that are also lifetime warranty. But not only that, they're quiet. They're quiet. Yeah. He upsold me. I was like, yeah, that sounds even better.
Go buy a battery in the state of Arizona. Every single for the vehicle, everybody is going to try and get you into the extended version with the extended warranties. Why? Here in Arizona, our batteries don't last 3 years.
By the way, I had to replace my battery yesterday.
I did mine last week.
Yeah. Arizona crushes
heat.
Arizona. So there you have it, guys. Look at that different lens. You're putting on a different lens. You're going to be the consumer in your own business and determine, is it hard to do business with us? Maybe we need to change some things. And get your team together and walk through the process. Go to your website. Go to your Facebook ads. Go to your funnels. Go to your booking links. Look at the availability.
Tie in friends and family. Like, I used to do that in other organizations.
That's a good point.
Where I've had friends, call different businesses and shop them. Like, I want to know my team's doing when they see my number come up, they know who's there, right? But I'll call one of my friends, have them call. I want to know exactly how my team is operating when I'm not around.
That's a great point. For the customer service side of it, but also what I'm saying is do the lens of ease of business.
Sure, yeah.
And that's really, you're going to be surprised. I surprise myself all the time. There's stuff that we do that's we need to change. And guess what? We're going to change it. It's just part of it. Doesn't do you any good at identifying it and not make the change. So that's your challenge for this week, guys. Jump out there and just look, have your friends and family call or just go through your website and have them kind of try to become a member of yours and see if there's some hurdles.
Yeah.
And if there are, go fix it. All right, guys, that's it until next episode. Keep changing lives. See you. Bye.